This is Spoken by Elswith, a Femdom Hypnosis podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. Plus, visit my website for sessions too intense to be included here. Visit my Patreon to collect your free codes for sessions. Hello, dears. In just a short while, we'll have a full hypnosis session. One that will aim to give you a healthy relationship with chastity and release. It also aims to give you a sense of that thrill that someone else, me, controlling your lustful energies can offer ever so well. I've noticed how much you like my other chastity conditioning sessions. And a lot of you enjoy my cuckoldry conditioning session too, don't you? Right now, I'm going to offer you a dose of reality. There's nothing wrong with orgasm. There's nothing wrong with sexual release. It's perfectly possible to have an active and busy sex life, regularly reaching climax and having all that have no impact on any other part of your life. Perhaps you'll be in a generally good mood. Perhaps you'll be free of distraction from sexual thoughts in your refractory period, and will be wonderfully productive in other ways. I want to say, I don't think that one orgasm a week is a pure and flawless concept. I don't consider it an edict, and it's not ideal for everyone. But let's consider some of the reasons where it might work for you, and why you should incorporate the session into your hypnotic training and conditioning. And soon, I think you'll see why it's going to be a great thing for you to want this, and to feel comfortable with it being part of you. All of this might be known to you, either because you've been paying attention or because you've listened to these exact words before. I'm not exactly enamored with chastity, especially as it's depicted online, since people ask me about it a lot. And what you might politely call an occupational hazard, I've spent a lot of time unpicking that knot. Unpicking that lock? I've got a good idea of exactly why I'm not the biggest chastity fanatic. Have you ever heard or read this phrase, kink vending machine? It's that concept shared with many women who present themselves as tops in BDSM, of basically being a servant to the whims of so-called submissive men. Men who want to be permanently locked up and denied, or at least threatened with it. Men who want to be humiliated or teased with the idea of being lesser, being less preferable than, say, other, more satisfactory bed partners. Well, I'm okay with all of those things, but I want them on my terms. I also want them to be able to shove those games into the closet or under the bed and play other games too. And maybe I don't want to perform your daydreams and fantasies on your schedule. Oh no, sweetheart. I really do have my own ideas. My listeners, my followers, get treated to an occasional request for longer periods of denial. And they play this game for me, usually, without much complaint. Well, they just know it's what's really, really exciting for me at the moment. Last year, for my birthday, I had dozens of guys keeping me updated with their levels of frustration and abject horniness. One orgasm a week is a sort of counterpart to things like my mountain climbs or Locktober. It's a nice, easygoing, and low maintenance way to keep a game of chastity and denial going. I'm presenting the session to you here for free as something you can enjoy and something I can enjoy because I'm looking forward to hearing about your success with it. On my website, I have another variation of this session. It includes a little story about playing this game with someone and what happens when I massage the rules for a special occasion. And as a little bonus, I'm including a shorter version of this session that will help you when you're struggling to make it through the week. There are 2 or 3 other things that you can find on my website, but I'll tell you about them after the session. This is Quality and Quantity, a 1 orgasm a week conditioning session, spoken by Elswith. The goal of the session is to bring your subconscious mind around to the idea that, well, isn't it obvious? The idea that reaching orgasmic release just once a week is fine, plenty, enough. I can't imagine that you found yourself here, listening to these words, without accepting that basic premise. I want to tell you a tiny bit more about what I plan to share with you in this session before I take you into trance. So once I'm certain you're listening carefully, that I have your full attention, I'm going to explain to you some of the benefits of this schedule, some of the reasons that I'm personally enamored with the idea, because I think that's going to give you a solid, logical, and emotional grounding for this whole concept. And then I'm going to offer you a few easy ways to make sure you're following the rules. Ways that mean you're not playing around some strict schedule and that you're still able to be spontaneous. And then finally, I am going to put my instructions, my suggestions, in your mind. It's going to make it easy to follow this regimen instead of it being a struggle, instead of it being hard work. I want to make this easy. So easy that you're barely having to put any effort in it at all. And I want the right sort of mental balance too. Do you worry that you're going to be preoccupied with thoughts of pleasurable eruptions and the fantasies or acts that will get you there? Or do you worry that this sort of limitation is going to mean you have to reduce the amount of time you're flagrantly fantasizing or flirting with your partner, or even engaging wonderful sexual experiences of all kinds? I want you to feel like this is all a positive influence in your everyday life, and that it makes your releases better too. So let's get stuck in. In a few moments, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Ask, not tell. I need you to understand what is going to happen next. See, I'm going to start counting down. Counting down until I reach 0. You are going to be completely incapable of opening your eyes. Now, you might be used to me asking you to relax as I count down, lower and lower. You might be used to me suggesting that you're going into a deeper and deeper trance for me, as the numbers tick away. But this time is a little different as I'm counting down. Because I promise that each time when I reach 0, you will be awake and aware. Let's test that right now. Close your eyes and 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Open them again. Maybe you didn't test my control over you that time, and maybe we'll need a little more practice and time to let that suggestion really sink in. But next time, I do encourage you to give it a try. As you close your eyes for me, each time I suggest that you do, you can imagine easily that I have a firm grasp upon your mind. As my grip becomes stronger, as my control grows, my suggestions, they're easy to follow. Close them now. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Open your eyes. Well done. Oh, I know, you are seeing how deep my control goes just then. And that's okay, and you know it. You know that with each attempt, I'm going to give you more time to feel that wonderful and suggestible state that's starting to creep over you. In this next little countdown, you might take a moment to think about the pattern I'm following. You might get it right away and spend the time congratulating yourself. Or you might spend the time puzzling it out. You might just make it all the way to 0 again before you get any time to test my control over you. Okay, get ready to listen and obey. Close your eyes. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Open your eyes. Good. I'm very happy with your progress. I think you're getting it now. Both taking on this wonderful suggestible state that I'm allowing you, and also the pattern of numbers that's guiding this game. Pretty soon, I'm going to tell you to close your eyes, and you're going to be certain what number I'm about to speak, ready for it to start ticking down. But no, I'm going to give you something else to think about, and you're going to find it so easy to follow. For right now, when I do start counting, if you hear the number you're expecting, just smile for me. I'm not trying to catch you out, it isn't that deep. But this sort of thing doesn't come naturally to everyone. When you smile, don't do so out of pride. Instead, out of happiness that we are on the same wavelength. Close your eyes. 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Open your eyes. There. We're not going to hang around a long time now. You know what to do, and so does your body. I never told you to relax, but it's doing so anyway, and your conscious mind too. Getting out of your way eagerly so that you can just follow my suggestions. Close your eyes and stay here, open and ready. Now, what am I supposed to say? You must have heard that orgasms are a distraction, a fleeting moment of selfishness that detracts from the true nature of submission. You must have heard that orgasms are inappropriate and unnecessary, as they serve no higher purpose in a submissive's life. Frankly, they're indulgent. You may have even heard that a submissive who never comes remains grounded, their desires controlled, and their actions in line with true submission. And denying orgasm emphasizes the understanding that release is not deserved nor appropriate for one whose role is to remain constantly attentive and devoted, free from the indulgence of personal pleasure. You can think all that if you like. It's okay to believe that. It's okay to be wrong. Oh no, sweetheart, you can't get all offended if I'm chipping away at your beliefs here. You know what I'm prescribing for you today. Here are some more reasons for you, more benefits. Some, if not all, will be true for you, and you can just toss out all the rest. Not knowing whether you will come each day adds excitement and variety to life. Being denied orgasm by another fosters your affection and dependence on them. Frequent orgasms encourage you to search for deeper and darker depravity in ways that can be harmful. Orgasm doesn't fit with the quiet discipline a submissive should embody. Orgasmic release creates emotional shifts that aren't always desirable. Long periods without release can harm one's ability as a partner and lover. Handing over control of your pleasure to someone else makes it easier to hand over other types of control. Many orgasms make each release less meaningful and mindful. Coming just once a week is tidy and sensible. Denial focuses your attention on your partner and on other positive endeavors. Orgasm control is a fun game of push and pull, give and take that you love to play. The next thing I'm going to talk about is quite personal. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. It doesn't mean that any other aspect of this time together is less effective. I'm just talking to the smart and thoughtful person you are. And you can use this time to feel more comfortable listening to me, getting more and more used to my voice, taking in what I'm saying, and just enjoying this state of trance that you're in for me. I don't have a great love for chastity. Of course, there are things that I quite like about it, as there are things I enjoy about orgasm control and denial. But there are some tropes around chastity play and chastity devices that I don't always like, and they tend to color all other conversations around it. I don't like permanent chastity as a concept. I'm a sexual person, and the possibility of sex usually has to be on the table as part of my persona as a dominant partner and as a mistress. I don't like some cages, those flat or even inverted ones that seem to be all the rage right now, aren't my preference. If a chastity device is being used, whether a belt or cage, I usually prefer still to be able to see the wearer's cock. I do like keys. I've worn one on my ankle in the past, and it was an excellent bit of foreplay. I do think that wearing a key on a necklace is a little overplayed now. And besides, you'll see the key around my ankle when you're kissing my feet. But on foreplay, that's how I think of chastity and orgasm denial. It's a game of teasing and eroticism and building, growing lust. It's often about taking attention, taking flirtation, and mounting lust, and only eventually, after lots of good behavior and lots of shows of devotion, just a little giving. And yes, it's about control, and of course I like that. I like having the final say, being able to say yes or no to a litany of begging. And if chastity is a way of getting more of that, then I'm on board. Right now, this time together is about the push and pull of denial. I'm telling you that I like this idea, this once-a-week idea, an awful lot. I'm going to like knowing you're following this edict, going to like it even more, knowing that you're doing it because of me, for me, whatever and however. So I can think of 3 different ways to follow the rules, and I'm going to explain them to you now. These rules range from easy to follow and very restrictive, to lax but requiring extra brain work. You will decide how you are going to follow the rules now, and you're going to find it incredibly easy to choose. One of these 3 options is going to stand tall above the other 2. And perhaps a little massaging, you're going to feel warm and happy about the idea of playing along for me. Option 1 is the most strict and really cuts down on the idea of spontaneity. Pick a day and a time that will work for you and enjoy your release then and only then. On one hand, it should be really hard to fuck this up, don't you think? On the other hand, it opens up some deep and difficult questions like, what if I miss the train? What if I wake up with an electric excitement one morning? Or what if I'm not feeling it all at 8 p.m. Sunday one weekend? Well, dear one, those are your questions to answer. I'm just presenting the possibility. If you'd like something a little less constrictive, something that offers a little wiggle room, well, have I got just what the doctor ordered? Were you thinking about straitjackets? Are you thinking about straitjackets now? Well, oh no, sweetheart, stay focused. Just pick a time in the week, say midnight between Saturday and Sunday, and allow yourself just one orgasm in the week between those two timestamps. The advantage here is that you can choose a time that makes sense for you, something that anchors this new habit nicely to your real life. You can choose to reset your counter right after your weekly yoga class, so you can think about your favorite instructor. Or maybe there is a nightly news host that you really, really like. I'm not judging, dear. Here's an even better idea. Finish right before the reset, and you can take another turn immediately after, like you're having a time walk. That's two possible rules to follow. Two ways you can make me ever so happy and restrict yourself to one glorious release a week. Okay, time to look behind the curtain. If you like to play fast and loose, if you're not afraid of a little bookkeeping and perhaps some math, you can take door number 3. All I want you to do is agree to keep track of your orgasms. Maybe on the diary or Google Calendar you already have, or maybe by marking the calendar on the wall with a smiley face, a little teardrop, a gold star, whatever symbol makes you smile when you see them. So now you have your little scorecard. You can look back over it whenever you like. You should be able to easily see how many times you've climaxed in the last 28 days. 4 whole weeks. And if the number is 3 or less, you have permission, you lucky devil. You know whether or not that was easy to follow, whether it made perfect sense in your head. If not, this isn't for you. You're just going to get tangled up in the super cerebral accounting of it all. Counting is hard. And if counting to more than 1 is going to be tricky, dear man, then satisfy my instructions some other way. We're so close now to the delicious suggestions that are going to solidify this entire game in your mind. I know you're ready. I know you're excited for that. But for just a few short moments, I'm going to give you quiet so you can consider the new rules you're going to live by. Just get them firmly fixed in your mind, because the more clear and inalienable those rules are, the more easily you will be able to follow them. Your chastity, your denial, is a positive and wonderful thing to give. Each time you consider release and don't seek gratification, you are rewarded mentally and emotionally. Each time you willingly accept your state of denial, your arousal grows, filling you for future climaxes. But you know the climax is pending, and your frustration shrinks, fades into the background, as it pales in comparison to your growing lust. Your release, your orgasm, is a desirable and delicious thing to experience. Each time you climax, it should be a markedly pleasurable experience. Each time you come, whether alone or with a partner, it should in some small way be meaningful. Each time you take the release that you are granted, it should be as good and as enjoyable as it is possible for it to be. Your obedience, your determination, is an enticing and erotic thing to behold. Each time you reaffirm your desire to play this game and follow its rules, you will know that it pleases me. More even, it excites me. Each time you break the game, whether deliberate or accidental, you will know that I admire your wish to continue. Take a few moments to think about your relationship with your own orgasmic relief. Whether you think about your last release, what you were doing or thinking about when it happened, or you may take this time to consider your personal fantasies around denial and control, or think about how wonderful your upcoming time waiting for release will feel, and how good that time waiting, testing, savoring the experience is going to make what comes at its end. When I begin to awaken you from trance by counting 0, after this short period of reflection, you will be ready to move on. And when I reach 5, you will have shaken off this feeling in favor of readiness. Readiness for whatever comes next in your life, the game I have gifted to you, but also the day or the night ahead. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you are. Welcome back. Thank you for listening, dear one. As I told you before, you enjoyed this trance, this time together. There's an extra special edition of this session available on my website, spokenbyelswith.com, and there's so much more I'd like to share with you. I recently completed my series, Getting Longer, an auditory experience, a 7-session story of secrets and seduction, deliciously dark and hypnotically erotic. I'd be happy to share the first episode with you because I know you'll be hooked. In the last few weeks and months, I've released several new fun sessions that involve a little less commitment. Petty things that will excite you. Really excite you. For a short time, like the pillow humping session. It's a perfect way to spend your one a week. Or perhaps you prefer a torturous time together in my dungeon. The 3-part punishment session Penance is waiting for you. if you truly think you deserve it. I'm always creating more fun things for my listeners. The best place to reach out and interact with me is my Patreon account. But if you just want to thank me for a useful or pleasant experience, you can always do so in the comments on YouTube. You can do all those useful, algorithm tickling things, like subscribing to my channel, rating my podcast, giving me a thumbs up. If you do all of those, let me know. But if you found yourself here for the 3rd or the 5th or the 27th time, then wouldn't it be nice, dear, to follow the link below to my throne page? There, you can really show your appreciation, even if you just buy my next cup of coffee.